In today's video, I will be sharing why I believe Democrats are heavily favored for the 2024 presidential election. Now, just yesterday, Kevin McCarthy got ousted as the House Speaker in a historic vote of 216 voting in favor of ousting Kevin McCarthy and 210 in favor of not ousting him. Essentially, 8 Republicans joined the Democratic Party in voting to remove Kevin McCarthy, and now the Speaker is vacant. This is the first time this has ever happened in U.S. history. And this really shows the incompetency of the Republican Party. Right now, Republicans are very incompetent. The fact that they ousted their own Speaker, although, yes, he is not as conservative as many Republicans would want him to be, this is still pretty problematic. It shows how Republicans are unwilling to compromise and unite themselves behind the Speaker and ultimately voted to oust him. Democrats themselves definitely did not have enough votes to oust Kevin McCarthy, but now he is ousted. And this is problematic because it shows that Republicans are not going to unite behind one candidate in 2024. If we look at the favorability rating for Donald Trump, it's again not very good. Now, I know Joe Biden also has a similar unfavorable rating of about plus 13, but typically when someone leaves office, their favorability rating ends up increasing. We saw in 2021 when Trump ended up leaving office, his unfavorable rating dropped to around at its peak around just around minus 10 for him. Now it's starting to rise up again to about minus 15, which shows just how polarizing the US has become. And even within the Republican Party, we see that many Republicans are not going to support Trump in his reelection bid. Now, if we look at just the Republican primary and overall, if you look at the Joe Biden popularity rating, again, he's not as well liked. He's actually also in the minus 15 range, but still, Trump is supposed to have a better approval rating when he ends up becoming the former president. And if we look at the who's ahead in the national polling, we see that Trump is still faring at just around 55%. We pretty much know at this point Trump is going to be the inevitable GOP nominee, pretty much regardless what happens. He has a very solid block of supporters who's going to support him regardless if he runs third party, etc. But we see that other candidates are also splitting away some of the vote, and there are also never Trump Republicans who are not going to vote for him. Now, I know Joe Biden's only holding around 60% of the Democratic primary polling right now, but voters who vote for RFK Jr. are going to support Joe Biden in the general election. That cannot be said for Trump. Many Republican establishment voters would end up preferring a Democrat over Donald Trump, or at the very least not end up voting. And this is a big problem, because in 2020, guess what? Trump lost. Trump lost the presidential election. Now, this was a very close race. Had he won the states of Arizona, Georgia, and Wisconsin, 10 electoral votes in Wisconsin, 11 in Arizona, and Georgia, with its 16, would have given Trump 37 more electoral votes, which would have made it a 269 to 269 tie. However, these 3 states ended up only voting for Joe Biden by a combined of about 50,000 votes or so. Nonetheless, Trump still lost, and it doesn't matter how nearly you win by, you still end up winning. It doesn't matter if you end up winning by 1 electoral vote or 100 electoral votes, you still become president. And the big problem for Trump is, although Biden has lost some support among voters, Trump has probably lost more. Because how divided Republicans are, this is a big problem for Donald Trump or the Republican Party as a whole. If they are willing to oust their own speaker, Kevin McCarthy, and which is the more extreme base of the Republican Party, and there's also more moderate Republicans who are not going to end up supporting someone like Donald Trump in 2024, and given that Trump also lost in 2020, it's going to be very difficult to see Republicans end up winning this election. And it's not just me saying it, right? Some Republican leaning voters also have the same concern that Republicans right now seem pretty incompetent. The fact that really the Republicans ousted Kevin McCarthy. They're not really all on board on Donald Trump. These are all problems that will end up coming back and haunting the Republican Party. Anyways, thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Goodbye.